Hi, good morning, grade 5A. How are you? Today is October 15, 2020. It's almost half of the month. And class, before I will share to you what will be our lessons for today, I have here 4 pictures. So these 4 pictures looks yummy. Can you give me the noun of these 4 pictures? Okay, how about the first picture? What is the noun of this first picture? This is, yes, it is a pancake. Very good. How about this second picture? Write your answer. This is a cake. Very good. That's right. How about this third picture? This is a juice. Great. And the last picture, what is this? This is snacks. As you can see, there are 2 foods there, so it is a snack. Snacks. Okay, remember these 4 pictures because later in our class, I will ask what are these 4 pictures that I have shown to you. Okay, am I understood? Very good. Okay, now class, I have here 5 sentences. Okay, these 5 sentences, the thing that you should do here is provide a noun by using the pictures shown to complete each sentence. So you will use these pictures, the one that I have given you katong nouns ganina, okay? So the first sentence, I made myself a blank. So what noun do you want to use from these 4 pictures? Just put it here. Okay, write your answers so that later when I call you, you will have an oral point. Okay? Second sentence, I baked some blank for my mother herself. Okay, again, put a noun here in the sentence. Third sentence, Xavier avails himself a freshly made blank. So what noun do you want to put here from the 4 pictures? Fourth sentence, Lara herself helped Xavier get some blank. So what did they get? Choose from the nouns of the pictures here. Last sentence, we gave ourselves a wonderful blank time. Okay, again, put the noun in the blank. So I hope you're writing your answer, class, so that later you'll have an oral point. Now observe the sentences that I have shown you. Okay? From the things that you have observed from the sentences, I have here 3 questions. So just get ready for your answers later. What are the sentences that you have completed using the nouns in the picture? So what are the sentences that you have completed using the nouns in the picture? Second, what have you noticed to the sentences I've shown you? Aside from the blank, okay, aside from the blank where you will put the noun, what have you noticed to the sentences? Third question, what do you think is called to those underlined or bold words? What do you think is called to those underlined or bold words? So prepare your answers to these following questions, okay? Very good. Okay, now class, today we are going to learn about compound personal pronouns and supporting details. So these are the 2 lessons that we are going to learn today. So the first thing that we will know is about compound personal pronouns. What is a by adding the suffixes self, or selves to personal pronouns. So here is an example. Here are the examples. My, which is a pronoun, plus self equals myself. It plus self equals itself. Our plus selves equals ourselves. Them plus selves equals themselves. So these are compound personal pronouns. Myself, ourselves, itself, themselves. Other examples are yourself, himself, herself, yourselves. Okay, so remember, that is a compound personal pronoun. So compound personal pronouns class can either be reflexive or intensive. So now we will learn what is a reflexive compound pronoun. So reflexive pronouns, this points back to the subject of the sentence. So it points back to the subject to the sentence. So this is an example class. Michael gave himself a fruitful rest after the stressful work sessions. So this is the compound personal pronoun, right? Himself. And himself is referring back to the noun, which is Michael, or the antecedent Michael. Okay, another example. We should allow ourselves to be part of stress-free environment. So the compound personal pronoun or the reflexive, and there are two example or two kinds of compound personal pronouns, which is reflexive or intensive. So reflexive ni siya class. Ourselves referring back to the antecedent we. Okay, another example. Wanda promised herself not to mix work and leisure time. So the reflexive pronoun here is herself, which is referring to the noun or the antecedent Wanda. So I hope you understand what is reflexive pronoun class. Okay, another example. I gave myself a lot of time to spend on my project. So myself, the reflexive pronoun, is referring to the antecedent I. Very good. So that is our reflexive pronoun. So you can see our reflexive pronoun is going back to the antecedent. And there is also a space here, a word, which is in between of the pronoun and the antecedent. Okay? Now let's see the difference of the intensive pronouns class. So let us know first what is now let us know intensive pronouns. So intensive pronouns are the same words used to highlight or show emphasis on the subject of the sentence. So I have here examples. So the first example, I myself am not immune to the charms of the kitten. So the intensive pronoun here is myself. And this is referring to the antecedent I. As you can observe, it is right away next. The intensive pronoun is right away next to its antecedent. So meaning it is showing emphasis. So murag double siya ba? So I myself. Ya jung gikuan nga si I maoy naglihok or the subject of the sentence. So another example. The old lady herself thanked the veterinarian for a job well done. So the intensive pronoun here is herself, and this is referring to the antecedent lady. So again, it is right next after to the antecedent, ang intensive pronoun. Another example, we ourselves are co-creations of these wonderful creatures. So the intensive pronoun is ourselves, referring to the antecedent we. Again, it is right next after to the antecedent. Okay? Okay, now class, these are the things to remember in using reflexive and intensive pronouns. Okay, remember this class. The first point here, the first one that you should remember is if you omit the reflexive pronoun in a sentence, the meaning would automatically change. So I have here example sentences. Okay, the first one here, I gave myself a lot of time to spend on my project. So the reflexive pronoun here is the word myself. And this is referring to the antecedent I. Okay? Now, in the second sentence, I gave a lot of time to spend on my project. So, here in the second sentence, nawagtang na ang koan. A reflexive pronoun nga myself. So here, the meaning has changed because in the first sentence, I gave myself. So, meaning ang imuhang lihok kay to yourself. Nibalik ra gihapon to yourself. Whereas here in the second sentence, I gave a lot of time to spend on my project. So the object here would be on your project. So ang imong lihok kay maadto na nun sa project imbis nga parehari sa number 1 nga I gave myself imbis mabalik unta nimo. Okay? Mo bounce back unta sa subject sa kaning I. Nawagtang na noon. So, nausab ang meaning sa sentence if imong wagtangon ang reflexive pronoun. Remember that, class. The second thing to remember is, unlike a reflexive pronoun, an intensive pronoun can be deleted without changing the meaning of the sentence. So, here I have here examples again. I myself am not immune to the charms of a kitten. So the intensive pronoun is myself, referring to the antecedent I. It is right next again sa antecedent nga I. So in the second sentence, I am not immune to the charms of the kitten. So nawagtang na ang intensive nga myself, but the meaning of the sentence is still the same, that she is or he is not immune to the charms of the kitten. Okay? Wala ra mausab ang thought sa sentence. So, okay ra ang sa reflexive, okay, sa intensive, okay ra nga mawagtang siya or maomit. But in the reflexive, it cannot be mawagtang kay ma-change ang meaning. Okay? Okay, so the third thing to remember in using intensive and reflexive pronouns is that you must agree with their antecedents in person, number, and gender. So it still matters if pila ka buok and the gender. So here, class, an example. Okay, example. My parents established the business themselves without any help from my grandparents. So again, this is a reflexive pronoun. So the reflexive pronoun is themselves, referring to the antecedent parents or my parents. Okay? So themselves siya because it is a pronoun. It is a plural. Plural siya, daghan man siya. So themselves. Okay? Another example. Let's have another example. Andrew himself spearheaded a trendy business for young people. So this is intensive because it is right after the antecedent. So himself is the intensive pronoun which is referring to the antecedent Andrew. Okay. Mo siyang himself because Andrew is a male. So boy siya. Him imong gamiton. Himself, ang imo dyan i-pair na niya kay singular. Sad, kay singular man si Andrew. Andrew is only one. So, himself niya siya. It cannot be himselves because there is no such word as him nga usa niya. Selves, na daghan man na siya, param na siya sa plural. Okay? Is it understood, class? So, mag-matter gyapon if your antecedent is pila ka buok, the number, and the gender. Okay, if it is a person or a thing, kung it is a thing, ang ibutang nimo ana kay itself. Okay? Am I understood? Okay, okay, now let's go to the fourth thing to remember. Okay, the words his self, ourself, and their selves are not correct words and are commonly mistakes as reflexive and intensive pronouns. So remember these words, class. His self, ourself, and their selves. Okay, there are no such thing as, or there are no such words as these three. So example sentence here, Johnny made a fool of himself. So this is the right pronoun, compound pronoun to put, okay? Or the right intense reflexive pronoun to put, not himself, because there's no such word as himself. Him dyan na siya, himself. Okay? Kasi Johnny is a male. So him, not himself. Remember that, class. Meaning 3 words. Okay? Take note of this. Now, the fifth point or the fifth thing to remember is do not use a reflexive or intensive pronoun when you actually meant to use a personal pronoun. If personal pronoun gani, like I, we, she, that is what you should use, okay? You should not use intensive or reflexive pronoun. So, dapat should magunahon na ka og unsa jud imong ibutang sa sentence. So example here, Jody and I are mountaineers. It should not be Jody and myself because dapat personal pronoun jud dito di kami yung kag myself. Okay, di man siya mo kinahanglan ra ba ang intensive or reflexive kay emphasis ra ba, right? So mo bounce back og emphasis. So, kani siya, no need naman for emphasis. So, just put there the personal pronoun, okay? So, those are the 5 things to remember in using reflexive and intensive pronouns or the compound personal pronouns. Okay, now class, let us know our second lesson, supporting details. So, what is supporting details? Supporting details are facts, examples, and descriptions a writer uses to explain or prove the main idea. They tell more about the main idea. So, you know naman the main idea, right? So, mo ni siya ang musupport sa main idea. Okay, how do we find the supporting details? So, once you identify the main idea, ask yourself what supporting information the writer uses to explain it. So that is very easy. You should first know the main idea. Okay? And then if you will know the main idea, ang sunod na nga sentences ato nga paragraph, mo na to siya ang supporting details. Okay? Okay, noting transition, this linguistic bridge that links one idea to the next, such as time sequence, example, enumeration, continuation, contrast, comparison, and cause and effect. So, mo ni siya ang hint sa nimo kaning transition niya from the main idea na siya yung mga examples ipanghatag, okay, enumeration or explanation about the main idea. Now, transitional devices may include but not limited to and, but, furthermore, moreover, indeed, in fact, as a result, finally, such as, for instance. So, kaning transitional devices, these are also clue words. Clue words ni siya nga, this is a supporting detail. Kaya naman siya mga ingani. But it does not mean nga dinhira kutob, okay? As what I've said, there are noting transition. Example, kay na siya mga continuation or mo contrast siya sa main idea, comparison, and the cause and effect, okay? So remember this class. So these are the hints for you or the clues nga imong ma-find ang supporting details. Also, okay, also remember class that in a paragraph, supporting details talk about how or why of the topic sentence. So if you already know the topic sentence or the main idea, Those remaining sentences are the supporting details that talks about why or how it becomes the topic sentence. So, ni-support siya sa katong topic sentence. Now, I have here an example paragraph for you to further understand supporting details. Okay, homeless people have many problems. In winter, it's hard to stay warm and it gets too hot in summer. It's also hard to keep things without a home. Worse is the lack of privacy. So this is the example paragraph. So what do you think is the main idea? Okay. How about what is or what are the supporting details? Okay. Now here is the answer, class. So the topic sentence is homeless people have many problems. Supporting details is what I've said. Why? So why homeless people have many problems? Because in winter, it's hard to stay warm and it gets too hot in summer. It's also hard to keep things without a home. Worst is the lack of privacy. So that is what I am talking, class. Supporting details also gives you the why and how of the topic sentence. So that's it for today, class. It's all about the compound personal pronouns and the supporting details. So I hope you've understand and be prepared for our oral recitation later. Thank you so much and see you. Goodbye.